This is the Cutting Edge on RFM and next Wednesday. Of course, for a years, I don't see I watch them length of time I do. Believe you me. Years, I don't spend them time I watch it. Yeah, we're there with you. I tell you, only people never make it over the weekend, yeah. Only a car accident and this and that and this and that. Or you say about 7 people move off in a just traffic accident alone. Terrible thing, terrible thing. The authorities, they must say it less than last year. You know, so far, at 20 less than last year. So, I don't know. But them people, they can't put them things a certain way, you know, like 100 people dead in a traffic jam. And I say, boy, right now you want to say it less than last year, which was 120. So, we're supposed to feel good. But 100 people for dead in an accident since the year start, and enough people that you know Rasta. So between the gunman and the carman, them Jamaican people just kill up themselves. A terrible thing. Terrible thing. Well, we see the thing I get kind of rugged in Iran, North Korea, Russia and America. It look like they want to start a thing. May I tell you? It look like they want to start a thing between North Korea, Iran, Russia, and America. You know, say I realize say Russia turned Trump a fly plane over Alaska there. I tell you, and Trump them a send ship in the Korean area there, and the Korean them a test out them things same way, and Iran a support them said we, and we so can't move from here. We so can't move from here, you know. Believe you me, we so can't move from here. Because that's a lovely thing, yeah. End up in a far country, you say, war start. You know what I mean? It's like, wow. You know, you want the other Egypt or Ethiopia or one of them places where they're near over them side there. Because you know, say, anyhow, any America attack North Korea, you know, say North Korea go attack South Korea or Japan. And anyhow, America attack Iran, you know, say Iran go attack Israel. It's a serious thing. Imagine America attack Iran and Iran start attack Israel. You remember one time Iran and America did back Iran against Saddam Hussein, and now Iran is one of them major enemy. And then Russia now is in between everybody, they know, you know, because Russia have tried to test some of them things and them have not fitted it out, you know, so them just hope say war can start that and can test out some of them things, just like North Korea. It's a terrible world we're living in here right now with these mad and crazy people. Yes, terrible. China wrote a catch back and a watch. Because China no want nothing to North Korea, you know, but yet still them say North Korea is a menace just now, so them have to chop up themselves and figure out what is what and what is not. So we have to look at it and take it serious. We know we have a domestic thing down here, so and thing, but you know, it's like you prepare for a storm. We have to prepare for the storm. We can't just catch match and I believe say, you know, everything alright and Yankee Doodle, and you know, America is fine and done the place and all. The man them have nuclear devices trained at America. Trained at America. And you see we're going to America between the whole weekend, yeah? 2 murder right now. 1 start kill people just so, and then the next one say, I'm going to kill all white people. And brother just get up and say, right now, I'm going to kill every white people when we can't find it. And he start fire shot. Him say, I'm not going to kill the Hispanics, them. Nobody have color. So him pass a car and see a Hispanic in there. And when him look over the other side of the car, is a white man, him say, him just fire shot at the car and shot the white man. And him walk down the road and see the next white man and just fire shot and shot the white man. And him decide, say, boy, I'm going to kill white people. Crazy place that. America, crazy place, Rasta. Believe you me. So, even though we know about the food, clothes, and shelter, and so, you know, we have to take a stock away and go on outside. Jamaica, so now, because what happened outside been going on for a long time too, economically. What happened in the world affect we economically, especially what happened in America. And people want to feel say America is this heaven, just like how our grandparents did feel say England was, the streets of England were paved with gold. Only that when them go there, them find Queen Elizabeth and the coal. And them have to just stay there. Some of them kind of make it, but most of them didn't. And now the children of those people who went on the banana boat and who went to look better life in England realize that now them in a serious problem because the migration thing I will take England to and France. And Australia decide now, say them are going to have, hey, that's some serious thing going on. Australia is now deciding that them going to give less work permit to foreigners. Less work permit. So I don't know how that going to affect we, you know, because, you know, say, Australia, England, America, all them places connected, you know, Canada. And we who have a visa named O1 visa as artists, as musicians, who them give because them say we have unique talent coming to them country to come earn some money. I don't know what happened now. Why was to expire, but the bulk of my movement is not in America still, but we don't want to know, say, if we are go somewhere, we can in transit through America. We don't want that. You know, it's a problem because we can go straight to Europe, you know, and go to Africa. You can land in a Belgium from Montego Bay. You can land in a Holland from Montego Bay or France from Montego Bay, and then find yourself in Africa. Or you can go another, well, Panama is another way, but you don't have no flight. You have to go through either America or Europe. It's a serious problem that if you go to Africa. And most of my things now in America. Even though I know say most artists, them things in America. But for those of us who have a O1 visa, and you want to renew it, it's a serious thing I go on, you know, because if the Australian them shout out and say them are gonna lessen them visa, them work permit visa policy. And Britain look like them really are going like say them want do the same thing too. And you know, say America a Trump started a Trump start this migration, immigration business for people. But we're going to see what happen. We're going to see what happen because we have to find a way. And this long-awaited move for plane leave from the Caribbean go to Africa. You know, say, them are going to wake up, you know. These Africans and these people from the Caribbean, so them are going to wake up and realize, say, it's a certain nationalism going on, so now. Well, them past the stage of globalization, you know. The idea of nationalism now is where we see a bear it area now because them have all election are going in Europe, you know, where so it look like the right. Everybody are move right. I don't even know how I call it right. So we are wondering now if we, you know, say if we wake up, because if we have to go to Africa, and it's shorter from here, so if we go to Africa on the west coast than if we go through America, if we go through Europe. Hey, you know how much hours me take to reach Africa, Rasta? Me left here in the day. If me left here in the morning, 9 o'clock, me reach in Africa in the night, 9 o'clock. And that's a west coast. So you left your son now and you go boom. Kingston, Atlanta, Paris, boom, West Coast. And not flying that, you can go Kingston, Atlanta, Ghana, straight. You can go from Montego Bay, go in Belgium, and go in Gambia, go in West Africa, go in Ivory Coast, go in Nigeria and them places. And yes, you have to take Air France. I want with the African them not to say the thing a bubble. It's a bubble. And we have to recognize that. Because we don't stop go Africa. We don't stop go Africa. We're not going to make sure we can't go America with life end. Because most only for artists who them did say them not allow in America. Them still about. And me know to them not suffer. It's not like say you want to go to America, go earn some dollars, but if you don't have the opportunity to go there to earn the dollars, you're not going to go throw down your hand and say, boy, life done. Even though a whole heap of Jamaican people see it that way. A whole heap of Jamaican people see it that way, you know. A whole heap of youth now we are going to university. Film intention is not to stay in Jamaica, you know, but to go abroad, go make money because none work not there for him. No job not there for them. You understand? Even though they tell you about go to university, that you can get a good education, that you can get a good job and earn some big money. It's lie them a tell. Lie them a tell. So now them a institute something now where all those who can't pay them school fee, them are going to help you pay it. But you have to spend some time and work for them. A kind of apprenticeship business under them and work it out, that you can work out back your... Nothing wrong with that still, but they make it in such a way where that is something that is not something that you have a choice, but you have to do it because you can't pay your school fee. So it's like them set the bar so high with the school fee them. And then tell you say, in order to be a real professional, you have to get some degree. And then now, you know who can't afford it. One of them little poor people when them pick me, I go high school, that's now for go to university. When them set the bar now, them say, watch out. Whether deliberately or ignorantly, them set the bar high. You go to the university, pass the exam, go to university. You can't pay the school fee, so them tell you say, all right, here we know. We are going to pay the school fee for you, but you have to stay here and work it out back. Wow. This is the cutting edge on RFM. Yes, the cutting edge on RFM. So we are talking about this outside forces, outside the way can affect where everyday life and how we maneuver ourselves in the system where now cater for we. Because when white people start killing white people, you know, them get everybody else involved in it and talk about it's a world war. You see, so when them have world war, people start killing white people, you know, them get everybody else involved in it and talk about it's a world war. You see, so when them have World War I, Europeans are kill Europeans. When them have World War II, Europeans are kill Europeans. People don't call it tribal war, you know. Them say it's a world war. Certain people never involved in it, but them say it's a world war. So you know, say if Russia and America fight, them are going to say it's a world war. Right now it's a Cold War go on. Who are tant, who are not tant, who. Syria, they on the board. Turkey, I tell you, the Turks have that ramp door. So we have to really take a stock and our leaders, them so idiotic and so fool that them just a follow back America. So I don't understand, say, really and truly, you can't align yourself with certain things and all. You have to really look out for your people, them. You understand? And them not really have no way. It's like how them have the airport, you know, and you train the people them for certain things, but you know, train the people them for the new attack we are going like a terrorist attack. You know, see, that you talk about tourism, and tourism is a big thing, but you know, set nothing in place in case a guy feel for try a thing in the airport or something. Them little training with them people they have as long for search people think for go find ganja or cocaine. That's all them know for do. Them don't know about nothing else, how to maneuver around certain people and observation and eye contact and all them something there where them people they use in them country to observe people. Even the monitoring system, them need to upgrade the monitoring system in the airport them. We're not ready for all these things, these new ways of doing things. See man all take bus and a car and a drive in a crowd and a kill people and all them. It's a different world we are living in. Man a jam computer. See America jam up the North Korean computer, them man a go like some of them a do it. The guy them a try try out the missiles. And every time they set up a missile, it not work. And the truth, them don't know what to do, you know. It's somebody there hacking at them computer and make the thing not work. But them soon find out, say them still. Them soon find out, say some outside forces are work the thing. This is the continent that
Undaunted by the driving rain, a sea of faces awaited at the Palisados airport, the arrival of a living legend. To some, he was the King of Kings, the Lion of Judah, even a god. But to most, he was a mild-mannered monarch who had won the respect and admiration of Jamaicans. The air was charged with excitement as anxious, expectant faces searched the skies for the first glimpse of the great silver bird that would bring their hero to Jamaican soil for the first time. Members of a local cult, the Rastafarians, were easily distinguished by their long beards and unshorn locks, and who worshipped this figure as a deity were present in full force. The most rousing, boisterous, tumultuous welcome ever given to any visiting or local celebrity, His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I, Emperor of Ethiopia, arrived. The crowd erupted into a frenzy of rejoicing as they broke through the lines of soldiers and police and surged out onto the tarmac, eager to engulf the Emperor with their affection. The ceremonial welcome that was planned had to be abandoned as the avalanche of men, women and children swept away all semblance of order. Ethiopia, a monarchy on the eastern side of Africa, has been governed since 1930 by Haile Selassie, whom history records as being a direct descendant of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. Jamaica was among the places visited by His Imperial Majesty on his tour of the Caribbean area. Huge crowds jostled for choice vantage points all along the route in the hope of seeing the Emperor. George VI Park, thousands also awaited his arrival. to the cenotaph, His Imperial Majesty laid a wreath in memory of Jamaicans who gave their lives in both world wars. The tomb of the noted Jamaican patriot Marcus Garvey was also visited by the Emperor. The royal party next drove to Jamaica House, the official residence of the Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Sir Alexander Bustamante. Was introduced to Sir Alexander and Lady Bustamante by the acting Prime Minister, the Honourable Donald Sangster. The National Stadium was the scene of the civic welcome extended by the government of Jamaica to His Imperial Majesty. Prime Minister read the address of welcome.
Your Imperial Majesty, I have the great honor to express to you, on behalf of the government and people of Jamaica, a most warm and sincere welcome. This, your first visit to Jamaica, is for us, Your Majesty, a most important and significant event. We have long hoped for this occasion, and your presence with us today is assuredly, Your Majesty, a high point in our history.
Mr. Eustace Bird, one of the two KSAC commissioners, presented the keys of the city to the Emperor. His Imperial Majesty and his party were treated to displays staged by the military and young schoolgirls. The next stop for the royal party was King's House, the official residence of His Excellency the Governor-General, Sir Clifford Campbell. His Imperial Majesty was introduced to many dignitaries and members of the Rastafarian cult in full regalia. The Emperor afterwards presented gold medallions to the Rastafarians. Then it was our turn for gift-giving. At a formal reception at King's House, the government of Jamaica presented gifts to the Emperor and to his grandchildren who accompanied him on the tour. flanked by officials of state and the military, he was escorted across the lawns of King's House. There, on a balcony, he settled back to enjoy a Jamaican concert under the stars. Sounding brass and crashing cymbals of massed bands heralded the opening of another session of Parliament at Gordon House. This session would be addressed by His Imperial Majesty. On his arrival, he was escorted to the saluting dais for the playing of the national anthems of Ethiopia and Jamaica. He was then ushered into the council chamber. The Emperor's address to the Assembly and people of Jamaica was in his native Amharic and was translated by a member of his party.
I had always wished to come and visit Jamaica. Now, thank God, this wish of mine has been fulfilled. Upon arrival to Jamaica, I have seen more than I had expected. I have seen the progress of the people, and I have seen their determination to march forward in unity towards greater progress. I have also witnessed personally the extent of the feeling of the Jamaican people to the Ethiopian people. Again, I wish to take this opportunity of expressing my thanks to the government and people of Jamaica for the fraternal reception that was accorded to me.
Among the academic institutions visited by His Imperial Majesty were Jamaica College, the College of Arts, Science and Technology, and Mico College. And here at Mico College, one of Jamaica's oldest teacher training institutions, he was met by the principal, Mr. Glenn Owen. Escorted inside, he was invited to sign the visitor's book. And a gift was presented to him by one of the pupils. The University of the West Indies is one of the institutions of which Jamaicans are justly proud. It covers 650 sprawling acres at the foot of the Long Mountains in St. Andrew, and it has recently been granted full independent status by the University of London. Members of the faculty, student body, and prominent citizens gathered to witness the ceremony in which the honorary degree of Doctor of Laws would be conferred on His Imperial Majesty. Philip Sherlock, Vice-Chancellor of the University, conferred the degree. The Emperor's reception for the Governor-General and people of Jamaica was held at the Sheraton Kingston Hotel. The atmosphere was cheerful and informal as Jamaicans from all walks of life chatted and joked together and raised friendly glasses in a toast to the continued health and happiness of His Imperial Majesty. As a personal gift, the Emperor entrusted to the government the funds to erect a school. At the chosen site on Payne Avenue, hundreds gathered to witness the stone-laying ceremony. In appreciation of the Emperor's generosity, the government decided to offer a scholarship to an Ethiopian student tenable at the University of the West Indies. The foundation stone was laid by the Emperor himself.
From the conquering land of the God of Judah.
Chanting, placard-bearing Rastafarians swarmed all over the Kingston railway station as they awaited the arrival of the Emperor. This was the beginning of a journey by rail across the island to Montego Bay Airport, from which the Emperor and his party would depart. The train stopped briefly at Spanish Town, but the vast multitude, carried away by emotion and enthusiasm, broke out in a wild free-for-all in which several persons were injured. As he journeyed through the countryside, the Emperor was treated to glimpses of the Jamaican scenery. His Imperial Majesty made several stops at various towns along the route. Some of these included Denby, Williamsfield, Magatee, and Montpelier. There he met both prominent citizens and humble folk. He also saw something of our rich heritage of folk dancing. Montego Bay, the scene was almost unbelievable. Thousands crammed the streets and lanes and carpeted the rooftops. Many of them were Rastafarians who had come from all over the island to catch a final glimpse of the Lion of Judah. when he was sighted, there went up a roar like the voice of 10,000 lions. At Montego Bay Airport, His Imperial Majesty was given the military honors that were thwarted on his arrival at the Palisadoes Airport by the overzealous welcome. Here, strong detachments of soldiers and police kept the huge crowds at bay. The time had come for us to say goodbye. The Emperor had spent 3 days with us, yet it seemed but a few fleeting moments. Haile Selassie, Emperor of Ethiopia, descendant of Solomon and Sheba, had touched the heartstrings of Jamaica as no other stranger had done. He had generated a tidal wave of emotion that had swept the length and breadth of our island and engulfed people with an enthusiasm and affection never before witnessed in the history of Jamaica.
This is the Cutting Edge on RFM. That was a synopsis, a little overview of the visit of Emperor Haile Selassie to Jamaica in 1966. Around this time, actually 21st of April. Very, very, as you hear the man said, never before Jamaica has ever seen Jamaican people. I talk about not just Rasta, the enthusiasm that was shown by the Jamaican people for this great man, Emperor Haile Selassie I, was never seen again in Jamaica. Never seen again in Jamaica. And we still, in this time, recognize Emperor Haile Selassie I. And it's not something that they're going to get rid of easily. Them not going to get rid of it easily. So we continue the journey. Continue the journey. Yes. I tell you. Yeah, this is the Cutting Edge at RFM. We will take some call. Operator, can send you the call them, you know. Believe you me. Feluke. Yes, Iel.
Iel Muta.
Blessed man, Dingo, you know, man.
Yeah, good. Reminiscing when I hear you playing about Emperor Haile Selassie I, visit there in 66, real memory lane. At the time, I was going to Campion College, and I remember that the Jesuit priests, they made us come out of the classes to line along Hope Road so that we could see the Emperor moving along. And as I said, the only regret that I have is that at the time, I never thought of having a camera because his car was moving so slow. I would have been able to get at least 3 to 4 pictures. You know? Yes, that would have been, those pictures would have been so precious now, but at least, you know, I saw Emperor Haile Selassie the first.
Them days, I'm there
close.
I'm there Wesley School, I'm going South Camp Road, right beside Palace there.
Right by Palace there, yes.
And then I go up at stadium, go watch the whole things are going. So, you know, I can't tell you, I see him too, you know them really.
Yeah, man, it was really good. And of course, the first place where he came in the Caribbean was Trinidad and Tobago on the 19th and 20th, and then spent about 2 hours at Barbados and come the same day, the 21st of GAA, and then finish up with 80, you know. You know, really great. And I want to hail up one of the listeners to the Cutting Edge program, my brethren Cecil Matthews from Jonestown. Cecil Matthews Stamson from Jonestown. Always listen to Cutting Edge, you know. He lives in Rochester, upstate New York, you know, my brethren. And it was his Earth Strong yesterday, Wednesday the 19th. And also the reggae phenomenon, my brethren, Big Youth, was his Earth Strong yesterday the 19th too, you know.
Monday was Sizzla birthday. Monday was Sizzla birthday.
Yes, Monday was Sizzla Kalanji birthday. And you know, a lot of people don't know that Augusttown was only renamed Augusttown, but the original name for it was African Hill. African Hill, yeah. So big up Sizzla Kalanji, you know, from African Hill, where them rename Augusttown. And Steve Marley, Earth Strong is today, you know, Thursday. Yes, Steve Marley. So if you can play a Steve Marley, no cigarette there.
No, I play a Steve Marley with a Damian Marley, a brand new tune where the two of them make together named Medication. A brand new. Medication. Yes, Steve Marley and Damian Marley. No, medication. M-E-D.
Meditation. Okay, meditation.
Yo. Like doctor, medication, doctor give you medication.
Oh, see, okay. Medication. Medication. See. Yeah. And it was very interesting listening to the communists that you were reasoning with. It's the same long time thing from the 60s, me and you and Marcus Garvey Jr. and them with, you know. The same thing. That they don't see anything good in Mother Africa, our culture, our history and thing. Them always have to be coming from Europe. And as you correctly say, nothing is wrong with kings and chiefs and that type of thing. Every society have that and so on. And Kwame Nkrumah.
When I'm saying fireborn king and chief, king and queen and chief, and fireborn that.
Yeah, but here's the thing about that too. A communist like Lenin, Trotsky, and so on, they never rejected the history of the European people, like with kings, queens, and those.
No, them never do that. You're mad, man.
They have never done that because they saw it correctly too as an important part of their history as to why they are where they are now. But this person, this communist, he's so anti-African. Because when he was in Africa, the Igbos and other people and so on, we had our own system where the community owned and controlled the land and so on. And this had nothing to do with any socialism or any communism.
Yeah, because even though the people don't rule, you still have chief.
Precise, and kings.
Yeah, you still have kings, and you know it's not.
Yes, because what happened to the difference between the kings in Europe and the kings and other people in Africa is that the kings held land on behalf of the community, the people. In trust, which is completely different from the European model that he's trying to
take away the land from the people and make the hierarchy own it.
Precisely, and he's talking about the hierarchy. There has never been a communist society because it's a stateless society where he's talking about, and those countries that exist as socialist countries, they all have hierarchies.
Yeah, well, they must say them are not really communist country and socialist country. You know,
no, that is true. They are socialist countries because there has never been a communist thing. And the thing about the communist ideology...
Hold on. Him say,
yeah.
I asked him, show me, what is the feedback there? You have a radio there feedback, man?
No.
Then we have feedback. All right. I asked him if must show me a country where we can say this is an example of a socialist or a communist country. He said there's none. I say, all right, so if there is none of them, that means what you do, what you're saying is only something of the philosophy that you open could happen. But then we have things in Africa already where that work for we before our Europeans come there. Why can't we look at those things? Look at capitalism, look at communism, look at socialism and say, we as persons now who get trapped on it so now can draw from the different aspects of them thing there. That things can suit me. We can't slam bomb go take socialism, slam bomb go take communism, slam bomb go take capitalism and all these things. And we don't
all of them European ideology.
Yeah, it's
all of them European ideology.
European idea said we. It might come from Europe said we, you know. Even though might say we can't deal with capitalism because capitalism and it's a beginning. Instead of we have fight against white supremacy, we should have fight against capitalism because white supremacy is come out of capitalism. Yet still, within
but that is a lie because as you know, socialism like communism, their ideology and so does not address and deal with racism.
No, that's what did happen with Trevor Man Road, them, you know. When them come off and say the problem with the communists them in our Jamaica and what is that them never deal with the race issue.
No, they try to ignore it and talk about class first.
Well, is that him that say too? Is that him that say no? Because him start to talk about now. You have poor people in Europe and poor people, white poor people and white poor this poor that now where as suffer said we. So we must now look at it not as a race first, but as something where it's capitalism and capitalism affect both white people and African people. Therefore, now we have to look at it from that level there. Rather than
but Muta, as you and I know, the total nonsense and folly, absolute in that, is that some of the most racist people that you have are poor so-called white people.
But not that Marcus Garvey tell you, man.
But it is true. Then hold on, then Muta, the armies and navies of the European nations who invaded Africa.
Poor white people.
Who were the vast majority? It's poor Europeans.
Yeah, poor white people. Yeah.
Who came to the Caribbean and Africa, India and other places and so on, murder and rape people and so on. So it's not the few rich Europeans who were able to do that. The majority of their armies were poor European people. And so that's a total nonsense.
And if you go down if you go to America or go down in the South, racism is rampant amongst these redneck people who is where you call
who are poor,
farmer,
but them still racist.
Yeah, of course.
You know, so this is the kind of nonsense and stupidity that these people who you know, as Marcus Garvey Jr. said, they must find some European to look up to. They can't, their self-hatred is so deep, they don't want to admit it. They can't countenance something or we as African people having a solution for ourselves. We must always have to depend on some European, whether in terms of physical support or mental support. It's a slave mentality.
Yeah.
It's a slave mentality that this guy has. And if you notice, he's not interested in promoting anything to do with African culture.
Him say, no, when him actually it's a king and queen business and where we come from, kings and queens, a foolishness. Him say that foolishness.
But that is a total lie because as you and I know, in every country, irrespective of race and so on, kings and queens is part of the process, part of the society and thing. And what you're going to do, because you have kings and queens, you must not acknowledge the inventions and the other kind of progresses that were made in those societies, because you had kings and queens. It's total stupidness. It's a slave mentality where them looking to Europeans at all time to sing for them. You see Kwame Nkrumah, he was another one, a communist, and he wrote a book called Conscientism.
Yeah, I remember reading it.
And, right, Conscientism, exactly. I got it in the 60s, something. Yeah. And the only thing that him draw from his conscientism are the ideologies of European, the Marxists and others. No African frame of reference from Kwame Nkrumah. It's all European.
Well, all of them, most of the time, when those intellectuals was drawing from Marx and Lenin, from them time.
Precisely. Kwame Nkrumah, CLR, James, George Padmore, Du Bois, all of them. And this is why they hated Marcus Garvey so much. Because Marcus Garvey said we must draw from our own rich intellectual traditions. You know? No, man, a real slave mentality. And I'm glad you really put him in his place. And you notice them, as you are pointed out too, he's talking about, you have to point out that he's striving towards a communist society then, and so on, you know. I mean, how is that going to work? You know what I'm saying? And it does not address the question of racism.
No,
because them can't go around that, you know. Because you can have a socialist society whereby you have the state, but racism still exists. Racism has a dynamic of its own. It has nothing to do with economics. Because someone who acts in a racist way to you, them don't need no economics to do that. And remember, the first racist society in history was in India with the caste system, where the word for caste is Varna, V-A-R-N-A, which literally means what color you are. So racism was thousands of years before capitalism. These people are falsifying history to try to fulfill their myopic and silly so-called ideology of emancipation for our people, when it's mental slavery to depend on Europeans. You know, and thing, you know. So I'm really glad you deal with him, and I know whenever he phones again, you will continue on the same theme where that is concerned, because in Africa, the kings and the queens, they did not own land per se. They were just the custodians
for the land,
for the people.
For the people.
You know, the Igbo and so on. You know, no, we must not allow our people to be miseducated into being intellectual slaves to the Europeans, be they socialists, communists, or capitalists, because we know race first, as Marcus Garvey said.
But most of the communists, them, all right, when the Black Panther movement rise up, you know, it started to adopt that kind of communist socialist principle too, you know. And you see what happened to them within the level of socialism, according to what them I say. Them never pinpoint no African thing, you know. The Black Panther movement wasn't about Africa, it was about social things in America. Like, them look for a social order for govern black people in them community. Them never Pan-Africanist. Them was not Pan-Africanist.
No, they were not. As a matter of fact, to be honest, they started out as a, say, following Malcolm X saying black nationalists. But then the communists and socialists infiltrated and said if they do not renounce and denounce black nationalism, then they will not aid them financially and otherwise. And this was why shortly afterwards they came out and denounced black nationalism and said that they are Marxist Leninists. It's there in their papers and their records.
No, I remember.
They were forced to.
Yeah, I remember, man.
Yes. So they started out as black nationalists, and then the same dependency complex, the communists and socialist Europeans say, if you want our support financially, and the Maoists to Chinese, then you have to denounce black nationalism, which they feared. And so they came out and they denounce it. Huey Newton, Bobby Seale, and the rest.
Yeah.
And then they were used as cannon fodder, and they were imprisoned and murdered because they were used by these European communists.
And the Europeans them spread drugs amongst them. Huey Newton, no drugs. Him get caught with man and kill him.
Exactly, because afterwards he became a drug addict, and he was killed by a next gang that was involved in drugs and that type of thing. So this is the situation they were used by this. And anybody reading Marcus Garvey's philosophy and opinions will see that the enemies of Marcus Garvey were both capitalists, socialists, and communists who were opposed to his practical ideology of race first, that we as African people must see about our business, socially, politically, economically, spiritually, and otherwise.
No more than ever, Bridget. No more than ever.
More than ever, and we'll not stop saying that, and we will not be misled, because we have emancipated ourselves from mental slavery, as Marcus Messiah Garvey said. You know what I mean?
Give thanks, Bridget. Give thanks.
Give thanks, Muta. Keep up the work.
Yeah, man.
Africa forever. Marcus Garvey forever. No change. Forward ever. Backward never.
Give thanks. Yes, I mean, the whole talk of communism and socialism, you know, I mean, as a youth, I got school. I sit down and listen to the communists them. I sit down and listen to the Marxists them. And when I look on them agenda, it never have no black nationalism or Pan-Africanism in it. Never. As them used to tell me, so we are escapists because now we are come side Rasta. These communists, when we go to them place, them say, as school youth, in a Rasta is escapism. Marcus Garvey is an escape thing from the reality of the situation. Well, you know, well, look at where we there, no, a Rasta, we still say, you know, and we still a search African redemption, Pan-Africanist struggle, and them switch now. Ghana capitalism, left them communist doctrine and socialist doctrine and Ghana capitalism. You know, see it. So, we're there, the struggle continue.
Did the world wars, revolutions, and big events of human history evolve naturally, or were they calculated and pre-planned? If they were pre-planned, who planned them, and what are they planning for the future of humanity? The answer to this puzzling question can be found within the boundaries of 3 of the world's most powerful cities. Those 3 cities belong to no nation and pay no taxes. They are Washington's District of Columbia, which is not part of the city of Washington or of the United States, the inner city of London, which is not part of London or England, and Vatican City, which is not part of Rome or Italy. These cities, called city-states, have their own independent flag, their own separate laws, and their own separate identity.
Vatican City is in fact a state, the smallest principality in the world. It lies on the banks of the Tiber, completely surrounded by the city of Rome. Its status as a separate state emerged from the Lateran Agreements of February 1929. It has its own newspaper, postal service, radio and television station, its own flag, and a population of about 1,000.
The Vatican also has its own army of Swiss guards, and it even has its own prison. The Vatican rules over approximately 2 billion of the world's 6.1 billion people. The colossal wealth of the Vatican includes enormous investments with the Rothschilds in Britain, France, and the USA, and with giant oil and weapons corporations like Shell and General Electric. The Vatican solid gold bullion worth billions is stored with the Rothschild-controlled Bank of England and the U.S. Federal Reserve Bank. The Catholic Church is the biggest financial power, wealth accumulator, and property owner in existence, possessing more material wealth than any bank, corporation, giant trust, or government anywhere on the globe. The Pope who is the visible ruler of this colossal global wealth, is one of the richest men on earth. While 2/3 of the world earns less than $2 a day, and 1/5 of the world is underfed or starving to death, the Vatican hoards the world's wealth, profits from it on the stock market, and at the same time preaches about giving. How did the Pope and Vatican accumulate all that wealth over the millennium? One method was to put a price tag on sin. Many bishops and popes actively marketed guilt, sin, and fear for profit by selling indulgences. Worshippers were encouraged to prepay for sins they hadn't yet committed and get pardoned ahead of time. Those who didn't pay up risked eternal damnation in Satan's oven. Pope Leo X rebuilt St. Peter's Basilica, selling tickets out of hell and tickets to heaven. During the Dark Ages, the Catholic Church not only hoarded the wealth they collected from the poor, but hoarded knowledge. They kept the masses ignorant and in the dark by denying them a basic education. Like Vatican City, London's inner city is also a privately owned corporation or city-state, located right smack in the heart of Greater London. It became a sovereign state in 1694 when King William III of Orange privatized and turned the Bank of England over to the bankers. By 1812, Nathan Rothschild crashed the English stock market and scammed control of the Bank of England. Today, the city-state of London is the world's financial power center and the wealthiest square mile on the face of the earth. It houses the Rothschild-controlled Bank of England, Lloyd's of London, the London Stock Exchange, all British banks, the branch offices of 385 foreign banks, and 70 U.S. banks. It has its own courts, its own laws, its own flag, and its own police force. It's not part of Greater London or England or the British Commonwealth and pays no taxes. The city-state of London houses Fleet Street's newspaper and publishing monopolies. It is also the headquarters for worldwide English Freemasonry and headquarters for the worldwide money cartel known as the Crown. Contrary to popular belief, the Crown is not the royal family or the British monarch. The Crown is the private corporate city-state of London. It has a council of 12 members who rule the corporation under a mayor called the Lord Mayor. The Lord Mayor and his 12-member council serve as proxies or representatives who sit in for 13 of the world's wealthiest, most powerful banking families. This ring of 13 ruling families includes the Rothschild family, the Warburg family, the Oppenheimer family, and the Schiff family. These families and their descendants run the Crown Corporation of London. The Crown Corporation holds the title to worldwide Crown land in Crown colonies like Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. The British Parliament and the British Prime Minister serve as a public front for the hidden power of these ruling Crown families. Like the city-state of London and the Vatican, a third city-state was officially created in 1982. That city-state is called the District of Columbia and is located on 10 square miles of land in the heart of Washington. The District of Columbia flies its own flag and has its own independent constitution. Although geographically separate, the city-states of London, the Vatican, and the District of Columbia are one interlocking empire called Empire of the City. The flag of Washington's District of Columbia has 3 red stars, one for each city-state in the 3-city empire. This corporate empire of 3 city-states controls the world economically through London's inner city, militarily through the District of Columbia, and spiritually through the Vatican. The Constitution for the District of Columbia operates under a tyrannical Roman law known as Lex Fori, which bears no resemblance to the U.S. Constitution. When Congress passed the Act of 1871, it created a separate corporate government for the District of Columbia. This treasonous act allowed the District of Columbia to operate as a corporation outside the original Constitution of the United States and outside of the best interests of American citizens. Corporation of the United States. Like Canada and Australia, whose leaders are prime ministers of the Queen and whose land is called Crown Land, the United States is just another Crown colony. Crown colonies are controlled by the empire of 3 city-states. At the center of each city-state is a towering, phallic-shaped stone monument called an obelisk that points skyward. In D.C. city-state, the obelisk, known as the Washington Monument, was dedicated to Freemason George Washington by the Freemason Grand Lodge of the District of Columbia. The Secretive Brotherhood of Freemasons laid the Washington Obelisk's cornerstone in 1848 and contributed 22 Masonic memorial stones. 250 Masonic lodges financed the Washington Monument obelisk, including the Knights Templar Masonic Order. At the heart of London city-state is a 187-ton, 69-foot-tall Egyptian obelisk called Cleopatra's Needle. It was transported from Egypt and erected on the banks of the River Thames. In Vatican City, another Egyptian obelisk towers high above St. Peter's Square. What exactly is an obelisk? Obelisks are phallic-shaped monuments honoring the pagan sun god of ancient Egypt called Amun-Ra. The spirit of this pagan god is said to reside within the obelisk. Obelisks symbolize the phallus and fertility. At the base of the obelisk is a sunwheel circle symbolizing the vagina. Together, they depict male and female sexual union. Worshippers of Amun believe Amun is the supreme god and creator of all things and can transform himself into other gods like Osiris, the god of the underworld, or Seth, the god of evil and
The clip a while ago about Washington, D.C., London, and the Vatican City. Serious thing. I listen to some music and you can see why the people gravitate towards that kind of music outside of Jamaica. And you can see why is it that some music lasts forever. And you can keep hearing it again and again and it sounds new said way. So I don't know if anybody has learned any lessons from that. Where the music should go and where it is going now. Leave much to be desired. When we check it. Much to be desired. While the youth them listen to the music and think carefully. Use your sensibility and see what is being done right now and what you should be doing to advance this music, this reggae music, this music that has given so much things to the world, liberate so much mind. Serious thing. Yeah, so I remind you of things that is taking place for the 50th anniversary of the commemoration of the visit of Selassie to Jamaica. Friday, Neville Hall. Really reflection on the visit. 12 Tribe will be having a concert as usual up at Hope Road. Everybody know where the organization headquarters there. It is good to think on certain things and feel a certain energy that emanates from certain historical references and certain historical points. There's so much of them. But one of them is the visit of Selassie to Jamaica. Whether he's a Rasta or not, that was really something else. Reflect on these things. Understand that Rastafari commitment to Africa and to the spirituality that him now define himself in. It's not an ignorant thing. I don't know, ignorance, it come out a search for identity. The need to be identified in a space that does not allow for self-identification. And the Rastafari brethren and sisters has carved out a space for themselves and those who want to come into that space. They have carved out a space to liberate minds, African minds, from white supremacy and colonialism that still exists. And even sometimes we have to say even worse now. I hear all the brethren and sisters who listen to in England religiously, that help to strengthen the vibration. Why you them up? Why you the people in Canada? Why you the sister who say we are come to Canada later down in the area? Why you are up? Yes, we have that pan with agenda. We have that pan with agenda. I want to dedicate this song to all the sisters them who are listening to this program right now. Right now. We are dedicate them singing to them.